Before He blesses you, God will do three things. First, He will examine your stewardship. As a result, if you have not been trustworthy with money, the unrighteous thing will entrust you with the true riches, and if you have not been trustworthy with what belongs to someone else, they will give you what could be yours. He who is trustworthy with very little is trustworthy with much, and he who is unrighteous with very little is unrighteous with much. Luke chapter 16 verses 10 through 12. In this passage, Jesus discusses material wealth in terms of the quantity of tangible materials that make up a physical object. However, the idea presented here can also be acknowledged as accurate and utilized as a foundation for more general applications in other contexts. When Jesus talked about stewardship, He meant that you should take care of what God has already given you. This is a way that God is testing you before He gives you many blessings. How you respond to and comprehend this test will determine what you do when God blesses you. This is a test as well as a class to discover what the true intentions and responsibilities that come with God's blessing are if you pass this test. God will never put His blessings in your hands. God emphasizes stewardship and the reason behind blessings. Stewardship and blessings intended use. What so many people fail to realize is that when we talk about God's blessings, they are more about responsibilities than rewards. This test is designed to help you rethink what you have and why you have it, because when God blesses you, He gives you something to carry so you can also be a blessing to others. Your belongings are primarily owned by God. You are merely their custodian and are bound to obey their wishes. You see, many of us go through cycles in life repeatedly and complain about how long it is taking for us to receive the blessing, but you have to understand that if you fail the test, you have to take it again and again until you fully understand and pass. Many people are not blessed yet because God put them there to teach them about stewardship. God is trying to speak and trying to tell them, I can't bless you with this ownership kind of mentality. But they fail to understand and have been in the same small position thinking God has been unfair to them. How do you handle what God has given you right now? Do you believe He is happy with the way you have handled it? Do you count it as a duty that you must faithfully fulfill, or do you see it as a gift from God? Are you obedient to God? God's blessings won't come to you unless He makes you a steward first. Do you give what you have right now your best effort, or are you waiting for some perfect situation down the road? God doesn't operate that way. Your attitude toward small things will also be your attitude toward big ones. Luke chapter 16 verse 10 says that excellence isn't about having the best of everything. Rather, excellence is about making the most of what you have and not waiting to have enough before you submit to God's will. Most of the time, Christians become angry, sometimes even at God, because we feel that just because we've been saved for a long time, we should be able to expect an increase in our responsibilities. However, we don't begin to access God's abundance until we obey what He has told us to do while we have little. This is where the test of stewardship occurs before the increase to God. 2. Your faith will grow, and God will extend your spiritual capacity. It will deepen your spiritual connection and boost your faith right now. Hebrews chapter 11 verse 1 states that faith is the substance of things hoped for. God must complete this crucial task before He can increase and prosper you. Hebrews chapter 11 verse 1 explains why God must strengthen our faith. It is because faith is the most important aspect of what we as believers receive from God. And when this aspect is weak or absent, there is no solid foundation upon which our receiving can stand. And even when it does, it will be too weak to receive something magnificent, such as God's blessing. This indicates that trust is something that rests upon something else. It is the basis for everything we hope for in Christ Jesus. That is, the expansion of the blessings you hope for. The capacity of your foundation, which is faith, determines the mantle and the expansion you hope for. God will work on your faith before blessing you with an increase in your spiritual capacity and guiding us. Increasing one's spiritual potential. Not giving prey to temptation but protect us from evil. Luke chapter 11 verse 4 tells us that when the blessings come, Satan will not just fold his hands and watch you increase. Rather, he will always find a way to bring down such a program. This is how he behaves because he never wants to see good things happen. Instead, he will always find a way to bring down such a program. Therefore, you will need a shield or defense to always protect yourself and keep Satan's attacks nullified. Many people ask themselves why they stay in the same place for years, even though they may be doing everything right, but their spiritual life is too weak to carry the kind of blessing they pray for. This is because God knows that if He blesses them as they are, they won't be able to take it from them like wheat and blow them off. Luke chapter 22 verse 31. Therefore, when you pray for blessings and God leads you to fast and isolate yourself, you should follow his instructions. He may also lead you to study the scriptures so that you can comprehend what is written, purchase books on warfare, and make significant sacrifices. Don't ignore him. If you want to carry God's benefits, allow him to work in you. He is strengthening your spiritual foundation and increasing your capacity so that you can withstand the devil's schemes. Ephesians chapter 6 verse 1. Don't let the flesh drag you down by spending 10 minutes studying and 10 minutes praying whenever you feel like it. Even though we live in the body, we do not battle according to the body. According to 2 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 3. God will not put your life in danger or expose you to Satan's attacks because he loves you too much. You must obey God, grow in spirit, and expand your spirit man to carry greater power and strength. God must first strengthen you spiritually before he can lavishly bless you. Once you are strong, you will be able to fend off any attacks from the devil. 3. You will be proven able by God. Sincerely, please pay attention to these Bible verses. You also need to keep in mind all the ways that the Lord, your God, led during those 40 years in the wilderness to humble and test whether they would keep his commands or not. Deuteronomy chapter 8 verse 2. The furnace is for gold, and the refining pot is for silver, but the Lord tests the hearts. According to Proverbs chapter 17 verse 3, motive is the reason behind an action, so God always purifies it. If you can serve God in trying times, it shows that your motivations are genuine and in line with God's will. Keep in mind that sin is tested in the struggle, and that being honest and open rather than dishonest or hypocritical is a quality that is put to the test in trying and exhausting times. Recognize that God judges individuals based on the pressures placed on them and the degree of righteousness they exhibit in the face of those pressures. James chapter 4 verses 2 through 3 indicates that even though you fight and struggle to get what you want, you cannot have it because you do not ask God. Instead, you ask and do not receive because you ask in the incorrect way. Why do you worship God? Why do you consistently fast and pray? Why do you never skip church? Get-togethers. Why do you do anything for God? Do you want to be blessed so that others would celebrate you or God? Do you do it out of love for Jesus or do you do it to gain notoriety? Why do you do what you do? God checks this frequently. We lose our focus on why we are doing what we should be doing, which causes us to lose the passion for what we really should be doing. However, when you have a clear motive for what you are doing, the right work, clarity, and passion will all follow. The reason you want God's blessing should be because you want to see Jesus glorified, not because you want to see his kingdom multiply. God is sending indications to help people change their perspective of his favors since his mercies do not conceal an ulterior intention. It is considerably more crucial to use his resources wisely than to squander them for illogical or unproductive goals. God never acts against his will. If your expectations of a blessing from God are not in line with his will, your hopes will always come to naught. God will always ensure that your motivations are changed before bestowing a blessing. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Remember to share this content to help support our channel.